Hey y'all, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, video number 2 for the day. If you haven't seen, actually it's video 3 for the day because I did the live breaking video once Remington met with that $73 million settlement with victim families. You want to check those videos out, believe me. They'll be linked above. And excuse me, I'm trying to keep my hands warm because I just come in from outside. It's really cold. So Senator Chuck Grassley has sent a letter to the Department of Justice, the head of the Department of Justice, Attorney General Merrick Garland, calling them out on some, well, I don't want to say lies, but how about some exaggerations related to all of the gun control things that Biden and the DOJ/ATF are pushing right now. I'm going to go right to it. Here's the letter from Senator Grassley, and he sent this to Merrick Garland yesterday. And it says, Attorney General Garland, on February 3rd, the Justice Department released its latest fact sheet on gun violence reduction efforts. This fact sheet discusses policies already promoted by the Biden administration's 2021 gun crime strategy. I am concerned that the Biden administration's strategy and the DOJ's implementation of it politicize our response to violent crime. By misdirecting energy to ineffective partisan gun control solutions, the DOJ will have little to no effect on violent crime. The DOJ will also target and intimidate law-abiding businesses and citizens for exercising their Second Amendment rights. We have a serious violent crime problem which requires serious policy solutions. At least 16 U.S. cities set murder records in 2021. A study from last month found that 27 major U.S. cities experienced a 44% increase in homicides since 2019. Attacks on law enforcement also continued to rise. In 2021, law enforcement officers were victims of more felonious killings than since the September 11th attacks. Ambush-style attacks on law enforcement spiked 115% in 2021. Despite this continued rise in violent crime, the Department of Justice and the President have decided to focus time and taxpayer resources on policies that will not work, including addressing the so-called iron pipeline, ghost guns, and lawful firearms dealers. According to the fact sheet, the DOJ's iron pipeline efforts will crack down on illegal gun trafficking from source cities and communities to 5 key market regions: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, the San Francisco Bay Area/Sacramento region, and Washington, D.C. The fact sheet creates a false impression that the explosion of crime in Democrat-controlled cities is entirely the fault of states with lower rates of crime. However, data from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms shows that this assertion isn't true. In 2020, the most recent year for which data is available, every state provided the greatest number of recovered firearms within its own borders. In Illinois, for example, firearms from Illinois accounted for 5,937 recovered guns in Illinois, while neighboring Indiana accounted for only a third of that number. Guns from California account for more of its own firearm recoveries than all other states combined. New York-sourced guns accounted for almost as many guns recovered in New York as the next 2 states combined. The president's focus on the iron pipeline is a political effort to falsely suggest that the conservative states with robust legal access to firearms somehow cause crime in Democrat-run cities. This is a distraction from the reality that the explosion of crime in blue cities is directly attributable to those same cities implementing depolicing, installing progressive prosecutors, and enacting disastrous bail reform policies. The fact sheet also discusses the launch of the National Ghost Gun Enforcement Initiative. It references the 325 homicides or attempted homicides connected to ghost guns recovered by the ATF between 2016 and 2020. According to the FBI, there were 89,076 homicides in that time, to say nothing of the number of attempted murders. Therefore, less than 0.36% of homicides involve these ghost guns. Stating the number of homicides committed by ghost guns without accounting for the total number of homicides in a given time period is grossly misleading. Law enforcement should be focusing on the increase of murders, the overwhelming majority of which do not involve ghost guns. The DOJ is also planning a new initiative to enhance communication with federal firearms licensees. ATF will now notify an FFL if a firearm purchased from them was used in a violent crime. As I have stated before, violent criminals should be punished, and anyone who knowingly assists them in unlawfully purchasing a firearm should be held accountable. However, your agency found that only 7% of firearms used in a crime were acquired from legal firearm dealers, compared to the 56% which are stolen or purchased on the black market. There is no data suggesting that legal firearm dealers are responsible for any significant increase in crime. Once again, your agency, at the President's discretion, is spending precious time and resources on a solution that will have minimal effects and will misdirect those resources from violent crime prevention to gun control. I am extremely concerned this continued attention on FFLs by the Biden administration may result in substantial harassment of legally operated businesses. This may have downstream effects for Americans who require access to firearms for protection from crime. Finally, this letter is the latest in a long, concerning pattern of your agency's failure to answer my oversight requests. As I told you in an October 2021 oversight hearing, under your leadership, the DOJ has failed across the board to comply with this committee's Republican oversight requests. Yet, my Democratic colleagues have received thousands of pages of material. In July of last year, after the release of 2 concerning documents from the Biden administration on politicizing law enforcement, including the very gun violence strategy I discussed in this letter, I wrote to the DOJ with a list of questions to ensure it was not being influenced by partisan politics. In October, after not receiving a true response to those questions, I wrote again. This month, I received a response from the DOJ indicating that no information would be forthcoming. The lack of response from a department that purports to be dedicated to transparency, accountability, and the rule of law is extremely troubling. For Congress to engage in appropriate legislation and oversight activity needed to address the alarming rise in violent crime, please provide the following information. 1. How many murders occurred from 2016 to 2020? How many of those murders involved ghost guns? How many of those murders involved conventional firearms? How many of those murders did not involve a firearm? Number 2. Is it true that crime began to rise in June 2020 at the time national riots were erupting and depolicing efforts began en masse throughout the country? Number 3. Is violent crime rising in cities with progressive prosecutors such as New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, and San Francisco, the very same cities on the strike force list? 4. State and local police are asking federal prosecutors for more assistance fighting crime. Are there any barriers to state and local police asking for more assistance in fighting crime? 5. What percentage of crime are firearms used by the person who purchased them from an FFL? 6. How many FFLs a year knowingly sell a gun to a person who cannot legally possess one? 7. How many FFLs were robbed during the riots that occurred during the summer of 2020? Are these robberies connected to depolicing efforts? 8. Did the cities and states most affected by riots experience a spike in FFL robberies? Has the percentage of FFL robberies declined since the riots? I look forward to your response. Sincerely, Chuck E. Grassley, Ranking Member, Committee on the Judiciary. Well, that was scolding from Chuck Grassley, U.S. Senator, also, like you said, a ranking member of the Committee on the Judiciary, to whom the DOJ needs to respond to. I've been telling you, other channels have been telling you, your eyes, your ears, your mind, your heart has been telling you that everything that Biden is pushing right now for gun control is bull. It's BS. The numbers are not what they're claiming. It's just another attack on our right to keep and bear arms. A right that is not given to us by government, by any official, by a police department, by a sheriff, by a state governor, by the federal government, by the president. They're given to us by our Creator, and they are recognized and enshrined in the United States Constitution, and they are unalienable. Guys and gals, we need to start remembering these things because what they're trying to do, they don't have the ability to do, and it's time to put them in check. Again, I'm going to ask you guys to check, and gals, hopefully there's more gals than the percentages show, but I want to ask everybody out there to please watch the video I did on the Convention of States. I am really, really looking for solid input from everybody out there on this. I think that this could be a valid option, but I also think that it comes with some risk, and I discussed those issues with you, and I want to see how you feel about that. And to show you that I'm seriously studying this stuff, I just bought the book by Mark Levin when he discussed this whole process. I think it's called Freedom Amendments. It literally just arrived. So I have to go out and get the package from UPS. I really want your opinion on this stuff, guys and gals. Chuck Grassley just smacked down the DOJ, and I'll stay up to date with this to see what's going to happen, if there's going to get a response. But he's dead on. I checked his stats there. He is dead on. Everything's been made up. Fudge. You can always fudge statistics. Anybody who took a statistics class, you can fudge stats. to favor whatever you want it to, and the DOJ just get caught with their pants down. Guys and gals, thank you for your time. I appreciate each and every single one of you more than you know. Please check out the videos I did earlier, and let me know what you think about the Convention of States video I did as well. Till we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, your friends, your family, your community safe. A gun on your hip is more effective than a cop on the phone. We are the new Sons of Liberty. Thank you. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you want to stay in the know. Like the video if you get anything out of it. Share it with as many as you can, because YouTube won't put it out there and suggest it to people. It's going to be on us. Till we see each other again, y'all. Take care.